Because I believe that the COS knows about all the confidential funds, especially yung pondong ito na napakalaki na pinagtatakpan nyo na wala siyang kinalaman. And remember, Mr. Ortonio, you are under oath. You are under oath. You are the assistant COS. Alam nyo na alam ng Chief of Staff ng Vice President ang confidential funds. And I will show you why. Sige, labas po natin.
Ang mga activities po na ito enumerated sa joint circular ay gagastusan ng confidential funds ng office nyo, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, it varies. Not all the activities are the same for each day and each month. The liquidation of the confidential funds includes the enumeration of the use, the Office of the Vice President. The confidential funds report, the joint memorandum circular requires the confidential fund report submission to the Office of the Vice President, the Senate President, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Commission on Audit. And we submitted the list of activities to these offices.
Thank you, Madam VP. Mr. Chair, I'll get to the liquidation end report also later. So just to clarify, Madam VP, since confidential funds refer to those agencies related to surveillance activities undertaken by civilian government agencies, ibig po bang sabihin na yung opisina ninyo will be gathering intelligence on certain subjects or entities in support sa inyong mandates o mga operasyon, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, that is correct. As an example, we did surveillance of complaints from constituents in Bulacan with regard to the selling of OVP assistance and the selling of tupad projects in Bulacan. And there was a surveillance operation that was run by the VP SPG for about a month. And we were able to apprehend the person, and we were able to successfully prosecute the case, and that person went to jail for ilang months?
6 months.
For 6 months.
Right.
So that is an example of the surveillance activities that is conducted by the VP SPG for the projects and activities of the Office of the Vice.
If you will notice in here,
Bulacan.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney Lopez was always nodding and at the same time whispering to the Vice President about the detail of the operation of the surveillance, particularly in the province of Bulacan. Having said that, that he was on top of the situation regarding that incident that happened in Bulacan. So much to say that alam din niya ang lahat ng detalye noong confidential funds. Now, tell me, Mr. Ortonio, walang alam si Attorney Lopez sa confidential funds?
Your Honor, if I may be allowed na to explain, I
Hindi,
think...
sagutin mo muna, then I will allow you to explain it. May alam ba si Attorney Lopez about the confidential funds? Having seen, yung kanilang investigation doon sa Senate about an incident, a detailed incident about the operation of the confidential funds in Bulacan, particularly. And that guy, Mr. Baloro, asa si Mr. Baloro, you were always nodding about the pronouncement of the Vice President. So may alam sila di ba? Now tell me, may alam ba si Attorney Lopez? Yes or no? And then I will allow you to explain.
Your Honor, I cannot answer if Attorney Lopez knows of the activities where the confidential funds are being used.
You have seen,
but as
Mr.
far as
Mr.
I know,
Ortonio, you have seen that video, di ba?
Yes.
The video will not lie. that the Vice President were asking about how many months, di ba? Sabi ni Attorney Lopez, 6 months. Di ba? And she was always nodding about the statements of the Vice President. So, action, di ba? That speaks louder than words, di ba? So, may alam ba siya? Wala.
Again, Your Honor.
Based on what you have seen.
Again, Your Honor.
Based on what you have seen.
Again, Your
Meron
Honor.
ba siyang alam sa confidential fund, particularly on that issue?
Hello mga Kapinas TV! Sa wakas humarap na nga ang mga matataas na tauhan ng OVP at DepEd tulad ni OVP Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortonio. Subalit, masyadong paiwas ang kanyang mga sagot. Halatang scripted, kayo anong masasabi ninyo?
Again, Your Honor, as far as I know, she does not know of any activities as she has mentioned.
Okay, you're trying to be evasive, Mr. Ortonio. You're trying to be evasive. We are warning you.
Again, Your Honor, can I give you a little bit of context on the video that was shown? Can I, Mr. Chair?
Sige, go ahead.
Please continue.
Yes. The matter that was shared earlier, the one kung saan na merong clip na pinakita during the Senate hearing, that case was actually reported to the office that there was an incident where a person was pretending to be from the office of the Vice President and nangihingi ng pera sa mga recipients, and it was reported. And we were able to share it with the VPSPG, and they were able to conduct surveillance and monitoring activities. That's the context of the clip that was shown. However, as to whether the confidential funds were used for that activities, again, I cannot answer for that, or I cannot answer if Attorney Lopez knows if that certain incident used confidential funds for the monitoring and surveillance of such incident.
Okay, according kay Attorney Lopez, Mr. Ortonio, people who should be asked about confidential funds ay ikaw at si Gina Acosta. Is this correct?
Your Honor, first of all, I would like to clarify that.
No. Sagutin mo muna yung tanong, Mr. Ortonio. Kasi sinabi ni Attorney Lopez that the people that should be asked about confidential funds ay ikaw, Gina Acosta, and the Vice President. Is this correct?
In terms of the information on the confidential funds, I'm not privy to all the information pertaining
No,
to
we're
it.
talking about the confidential funds. Confidential funds lamang po ang pinag-uusapan natin, and it was manifested by Attorney Lopez under oath that the person that is responsible for confidential funds ay ikaw, si Gina Acosta, and the Vice President herself. So you are now under oath. Would you confirm the statement of Attorney Lopez?
Okay.
Yes, yun na naman tinatanong ko lang kung tama yung sinabi ni Attorney Lopez. Kung kayong tatlo nakakaalam sa confidential funds, tama ba sinabi ni Attorney Lopez? Yes sir, no po. I mean, napakasimple tinatanong ko, tama po ba yung sinasabi ni Attorney Lopez?
No, Your Honor, because I am not.
So wait, kung no ang sagot po ninyo, hindi lamang kayo nakakaalam tungkol sa confidential funds.
No, Your Honor, I am not privy to the information or activities in the use of the confidential activities. However, I do know some information because in the drafting of the replies to the AOMs that the Office of the Vice President received, I got information from the Special Disbursing Officer and the Security Officer. That's the only extent of information that I know pertaining to the confidential funds.
So in other words, partly, the totality of the confidential funds, alam mo. But the
Partially.
totality of it, not.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So, binanggit dito ni Attorney Lopez sa last hearing na yung approach ni Vice President is compartmentalized. No? Yun yung approach niya. At sinasabi niya nga dito, And because of this procedure, which was also used by Attorney Poa in the DepEd, that's the reason why I si Attorney Lopez was not consulted one way or the other pagdating po doon sa confidential funds. Mr. Ortonio, ikaw yung the only person who accompanied sa land bank ni Miss Acosta. Is this correct?
That's correct.
But a while ago, you changed your testimony na meron na kayong kasama na dalawang military guy. Am I correct?
Yes, VPSPG guard to accompany us, but it was only me and
Yes.
Miss Gina Acosta who
And
encashed
bilang
the check.
chief of staff, no, assistant, COS, you work directly under the office of Attorney Lopez. Correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So lumalabas dito na kung walang kinalaman si Attorney Lopez sa confidential funds when he delivered this in the last hearing. So basically, may kinalaman ikaw, si Acosta, and the Vice President.
Your Honor, I would
What
like
I'm
to...
trying to say is that partly you know about the confidential funds, right?
Again, Your Honor, I only know of the confidential funds because I was the one who drafted the replies to the AOM.
Yes, correct.
But prior...
Mr. Ortonio, that is precisely what I'm trying to point out. That partly you know about the confidential funds.
That's
And
correct.
in accordance with what was delivered by Attorney Lopez, lumalabas that wala siyang alam at ang nakakaalam partly of the confidential funds, ikaw, Gina Acosta, and the President, and the Vice President. Tama?
Again, Your Honor, I would like to qualify my answer. Yes, I partially know about information on the confidential funds, but only because I drafted the replies to the AOMs. Prior to the AOMs, I do not know of the activities that where the confidential funds were used.
Yes, I understand that Mr. Ortonio. Now, nung pumunta po kayo ng land bank, no, at in-encash niyo po yung pera together with Gina Acosta, alam po ba to ni Attorney Lopez?
I'm not sure if Ms. Acosta mentioned this to...
But you are
Attorney-
the Assistant Chief of Staff.
Yes.
And this is your responsibility to tell your boss that I'm going to encash a 125 million confidential funds. So, alam ba to ng COS ni BP?
I did not mention this one to...
So, wala siyang alam.
As far as I know, Your Honor.
So,
she
hindi
does not.
alam ni Lopez, ni Zuleika, that you're going to withdraw 125 million.
Personally, Your Honor, I did not mention it to her.
Bakit hindi mo sinabi?
Because the role of having to encash the check, Your Honor, is with the SDO. And this is already with the instruction or in coordination with
But
the Vice President.
would you agree with me that being the COS and a deputy COS, you have the responsibility all over your subordinates? Am I correct? Di ba, ako chief of staff eh. Ako responsible sa boss ko eh. Now you're going to withdraw a 125 million without you telling the chief of staff?
Again, Your Honor, I did not inform Ms. Attorney Lopez during that time.
Talaga hindi nyo in-inform or itinatago nyo lamang si Attorney Lopez?
Again, Your Honor,
Wala bang
I-
information o wala bang direction o wala bang directive to protect the COS at all cost?
No, Your Honor. No.
Okay. So nung pumunta kayo sa land bank, hindi niya alam at hindi kayo hinanap ni Attorney Lopez kung bakit kayo wala sa opisina at walang malay at walang pakialam si Zuleika kung bakit wala kayo sa opisina. And when the 125 million were brought doon sa opisina, wala pa rin alam si COS. Is that what you're trying to imply to this representation?
That I cannot answer, Your Honor, but again, as mentioned earlier, during that day when we encash the money. I did not mention
Okay.
it to
So talagang
Attorney Lopez.
paninindigan nyo na si Attorney Lopez ay walang kinalaman doon sa 125 million.
As far as
Confidential funds.
As far as I know, Your Honor, I believe she is not aware of.
At wala
how the
siyang alam.
activities-
Kasi yun sinasabi niya. Wala siyang alam sa confidential funds. Lahat. Di ba? Correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. And same way with me, Your Honor, prior to the issuance of the AOMs, I did not also know of any of the activities where the confidential funds were used.
Okay. So paninindigan nyo. Here, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ortonio, kayo sumulat ng letter na to, di po ba?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And your signature appears on this, di po ba?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So sino nagpapirma kay Attorney Zuleika Lopez? Ikaw?
After I got information from the SDO and from the security officer, and after having drafted the reply, yes, I had it signed to our chief of staff.
So ikaw ang nagro-root ng letter na yan.
For this specific letter, Your Honor.
So it
That's
passed
correct.
through this SDO.
It did not pass through the SDO, but the information indicated in the letter came from the SDO and from the security officer, Your Honor.
So with that letter, signed also as well by Attorney Zuleika Lopez, may alam siya sa confidential fund.
Again, Your Honor, a little bit of context. She may know because of the information that was shared, but
She may know.
because of the
Because she signed the,
yes,
di ba?
yes.
So, hindi mo pa rin sabihin sa amin na alam niya yung pinirmahan niya.
Salamat sa panunood. Huwag kalimutang mag-like, subscribe at mag-share ng video. Hanggang sa muli.